the afternoon session of our last day. I open the agenda item, I think it's 19, adoption of summary of main outcomes, decisions, and required actions arising from the 68 meeting. I will explain again that there will be, in line with the rules of procedure, chair's report that has to be distributed latest 2 months after the end of this meeting today. But it's a usual practice that we adopt a shorter document which summarizes our main outcomes, decisions, and required actions. You have received this document around 1 o'clock, and I hope you had the time to look at it. In contrast to a number of other meetings of international agreements, Secretariat has a very, very short time to finalize it. So it cannot be really, let's say, perfect. Therefore, we go through it. We will do this as an on-screen exercise. We'll start at the beginning, and we found already some slight additions that we need to include. So I will ask the Secretariat to project it on the screen. I would go chapter by chapter, and where we have larger chapters, I would go there discussing part and the part of the chapter. So I first start with the voting rights and contracting government contributions. And here there was a slight error already, which you see in track changes on the web, because we changed 2 rules of procedures. I open floor for interventions, and I see US. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll intervene more in my role as Finance and Administration Chair. So while the correction there is correct, the language in italics is not what was agreed as far as a change of a rule to procedure. The actual change to those 2 rules of procedure is the addition of the sentence unless, or extension of the sentence to complete it at the end of those 2 areas of the rules of procedure and financial debate should say, unless the Commission decides otherwise in the case of exceptional circumstances, period. That is the actual text that we agreed as a rule of procedure change. And the final bullet there is fine regarding the Chair's ruling that the COVID pandemic was the exceptional circumstances. And this text can be found on the voting rights paper, which is under the F&A agenda items. Or I can read it again, whatever's easier.
Thank you. We have it here, so we'll type it in, and then you just confirm. And to explain in between, when the summary will go out in a few days, those changed rules of procedure will be annexed to this document. The way they were presented on the screen, and that's the way they were provided to you 60 days before our meeting started. US, please.
That is the correct text. I would probably add in the very first sentence, the following changes to the end of. Because that new text down there should go at the very end of each of those rules of procedure. Yeah, that's a good point too. So it should be changed to the end. This is actually, it's actually F2 is the financial rules and E2 is the rules of procedure. So the following changes. The end of F2 in the financial rules and rule of procedure E2.
US, please.
That's correct. And then I would just delete for the duration of plenary because we've made these changes now to the rules of procedure. And then I think you're good.
UK, please.
Thank you, Chair. I wonder if we could keep the text that's been struck out and have that as the commission decided that contracting government, so that's still the decision that was made, and the rules of procedure change is what's then been added underneath.
Thank you. I will have a practical suggestion. In the meantime, the Secretariat will prepare a new text that will exactly record what has been presented to you on the slide and what we have adopted. And now we go to the next items. So let us move now, and we'll return to that. Let us move to Finance and Administration, item 6. This one is very long, and Therefore, I would go title by title. So agreements with other organizations. You see, we had a slight correction of the language. Costa Rica, please take the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. Lo que quisiéramos solicitar a la secretaría es que ponga el nombre completo de la Comajafat. Que si podríamos tener eso. Gracias.
Thank you. We will also ensure that the abbreviation in English language is the English one, and in the French and other languages is the French one, because they are different. So here it should be Atlavco in the English version. And we can put in the full name, because we are not bound that this document has to be, this can be included in this document. The full name, there is enough space. Morocco, please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just suggest to keep Atlavco / Comafat in both versions, English and French, as the name is irrespectively used in both languages.
Thank you, Morocco. That's a good suggestion. So let's just add. And we'll have this in all the same, both abbreviations in all 3 languages. I see no more hands, so with this part is agreed. The next one is intersessional working groups. And this is basically what we have agreed. I see no request for the floor, so I take this one agreed as well. Let us now move to administrative matters. I see no hands raised on this one, so I take this one also agreed. Now let us move to financial statements, budget and budgetary subcommittee operations. I see no hands, so I take this one also as agreed. Financial implications, there is just one sentence. Argentina, and sorry if I was too quick, please specify to which part your intervention is referring.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was referring to financial implications of proposed resolutions and schedule amendments. As far as I remember, the financial implication of the schedule amendment was almost neglectable because it was £200 for the next 2 years. And I mean, reported like this, it compares to a resolution that had an implementation cost that was considerable, significantly higher. So is there any way to reflect that? Because otherwise everything appears in the same footing of financial burden. Maybe.
Please go on.
The committee noted that proposed resolution had financial implications, while the schedule amendment had almost neglectable or something like that financial implication. Thank you.
We will write something along those lines, and then we can add here also that the food security draft food security resolution also had no financial implications. Can I assume that this is now acceptable for all delegations? I see no hands, so I conclude it is acceptable. Now let us move to the working group on operational effectiveness. And first we have the governance reform part. On the let us look at the bureau part. Is this text acceptable?
Oh, no, sorry, it's the verb. It's okay.
I see no hands, so I conclude we can agree with this. Let us move to Commission meeting operations. Is this acceptable? I see no hands, so I take it is agreed. Let us move to the rules of the procedure change. In relation to bureau meetings and different organization of our commission meetings, and with regard to documents for the bureau. I see no request to the floor. And again, this part, when you receive it, will have changes to the rules of procedure annexed to the document as we agreed them in the plenary. Intersessional tasks. Can this be agreed? I see no request for the floor, so I take that we can agree intersessional tasks. Then let us move to the budget reform strategy. Can we agree with the text under budget reform strategy? With a small typo correction. I see no request for the floor, so I take that we can agree with it, that it's agreed. Strategic principles and working group on strategic plan. Can we agree with this part of the text? I also see no request for the floor, so I take it is agreed. Then we have a biennial budget. Here we have added now this part so that it's clear to which option we agreed, and there was a small typo in the number of countries. You see that the operative part of that budget document is also summarized here. Can we agree with this part of the text. I see no request for the floor, so I take this is agreed. And with this, my understanding is that we agreed to the section on finance and administration in this report. Now we have schedule amendment. And you see also resolutions. Can we agree with this text on the schedule amendment? I see no request for the floor, so I take it as agreed. Resolutions. Can we agree with the text for the resolution? Argentina.
Thank you, Chair. I think it could be a fair reflection to also express that under schedule amendment, a controversy on the interpretations of the rules of procedure was discussed.
Okay, that reflects the situation. Basically, we here have outcomes, but this what is a follow-up. But I have no difficulties adding this if that is desired.
Mr. Chair, could we add regarding the interpretation of the rules of procedure, because I think that's a fair reflection. Thank you. Thank you very much.
My suggestion would be regarding the implementation, because we had to implement that rule of procedure. If that is Antigua and Barbuda and then Argentina.
What was discussed, Mr. Chair, the controversies? Based on the reading of that, it seems as if the interpretation was not discussed. It was the controversies that were discussed. I would like to leave it like that, but it's not good English, actually.
Oh, no, thank you. Yes, I mean, taking into account the comment by our colleague from Antigua and Barbuda, can we say the interpretation and implementation on the rules of procedure on quorum was controversial? We could start with the interpretation and the implementation of the rules of procedure on quorum was controversial.
I have Colombia and then Argentina.
I know, no clarification.
Thank you so much. I had the feeling that yesterday we had misunderstanding of the interpretation of the quorum. And actually, we implemented the rules of procedures. In that extent, I shall suggest that we say the implementation of the rules of procedures brought to the implementation of the rules of procedures brought to a miscomprehension of the interpretation of quorums and a following reflection on the manner to interpret it. It's something in that spirit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before passing the floor further and listening to where the debate is going, I point out these are the main outcomes. So what needs to come out of this meeting now immediately? This is not the record of the meeting. To make it clear, record of the meeting will be in the chair's report. And the outcome we had here was that we tasked a working group to work on this in the intersessional period and to come with a proposal. So in order to note the reason, I would be fine with noting the reason and then finalizing the sentence here on what was the outcome at the end. Let me just give me just half a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I think that that second sentence on the item 7 is not contextual. It is out of context with regards to the general flow of the report. We are looking at outcomes. Further in the report, the issue of a quorum was addressed in the same report, where the working group was asked to look at it and come back, and it's been there. If we put in an opinion, because what might be controversial to others might not be controversial to others, so it's very subjective. If that is going to be there, then on item 5, I might want to say that the discussion there was controversial too, and then we're going to create all kinds of changes. I would suggest we leave that out, because it is addressed previously, and just let the document flow as it is designed to, because it is really out of context as it is there. The second paragraph. I think if you go back up into the report, you will see that the working group on operational effectiveness were tasked to address the issue of the quorum. Then to double down on it there is making the report controversial.
Thank you. I will pass the floor to the others before we do some work on the text. What could be added here is connection that this is the reason why the working group on operational effectiveness was given that task. But I pass the floor to the US, please.
Thank you, Chair. The United States cannot support the inclusion of this language. While some delegations may have felt it was controversial, the way this is written implies that everyone felt it was controversial, and our delegation had no controversy over the interpretation and implementation of the rules of procedure. And I would also agree with the delegate from Antigua and Barbuda that this should, I don't mind if you note that this was a reason, or somehow reflect back to the other agenda item related to operational effectiveness working group, but we did not discuss the working group on operational effectiveness under agenda item 7, so it is more relevant above in agenda item 5, or in 6, excuse me, F and A. So I don't mind if there's some note that connects this back to there, but that is all that should be recorded in the report of outcomes. Now, the chair's report, as you noted, should have a lengthy discussion over what was discussed and the views and interpretations that were expressed, as well as the way you implemented it, Chair. But that's our view.
Thank you. Argentina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I was trying to get was a fair and elegant reflection of what happened in this room. We can also opt to express that the delegation of Argentina challenged the ruling of the chair on the interpretation and implementation of the rules of procedure on quorum. And that's undeniable. So I would like to ask everybody to reflect in a way, I mean, was controversial enough, but I think that your work on that text is both fair and elegant, and my delegation can either go with that or with the other formulation that I think is it's not the best way in as a matter of forms to reflect that. So I'm in the hands of the room. Thank you.
Thank you. I still pass the floor to Morocco.
Thank you, Chair. I fully agree with delegates from Antigua and Barbuda and USA, and for item 7, we should stick to the initial language and stop the paragraph at room, because that describes exactly what happened. That's just a fact and it's just a description. But the discussion at the debate about definition of quorum is something that has been tasked to be discussed in the intersession, and it is clearly stated in item 6. So there is no need to redundant language in item 6 and 7. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will try to check once more for the flexibility among the states, as it was mentioned that this is the document that is a summary of main outcomes, and we have a summary of the outcome at this agenda item here, and we have a summary of what are the outcomes, what needs to be done by the working group on operational effectiveness under the part we have already agreed to. So I'm checking if it would be acceptable that we leave the text as it was originally in, so without any track changes that you see now. And again, as explained, that's not the record of the meeting. The record of the meeting will be chair's summary. I see Argentina. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate the efforts of the chair. I can do without the part of the working group, but that controversy is an outcome and will have consequences. So it needs to be reflected. I would propose that it was being accepted to the point of controversial period. Then we have the other part. Otherwise, I'm afraid we cannot, we may vote on this. Thank you.
United States, please.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps I could make an alternative suggestion that I think was consistent with Argentina's earlier comments. Perhaps instead, we could say that some delegations, or if it wants to just be Argentina specifically, but I think there was a number of delegations. So some delegations challenged the chair's implementation of rule of procedure B1, which would then link it back, or you can say on quorum. But by saying that, it would by default then link us back to agenda item 5. I don't know if that would be acceptable to Argentina.
Thank you. Antigua and Barbuda, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If Ryan, you could just scroll back up to the area in this recommendation that spoke to the intersessional work and quorum. I think it's 6 or 5. 5 or 6. Okay. Perhaps there we should try to find something to address the concern of Argentina, where you could put there that some delegation perceive that there was because of the perception of some delegation because of the perception of some delegation regarding the interpretation of the of the rules of procedure on quorum. Where we agree that it should be looked at during the intercession, some wording like that, so that the document could be clear and clean, where the outcomes on the agenda item 7 and 8 would not reflect anything but what the outcomes were. So if we could include something that can satisfy Argentina there instead of the outcomes in the other area, because if we start to cherry pick like that, maybe somebody with that had a resolution might want to describe the reason why we are going into the intercession to look at it again. So if we could find something here to satisfy Argentina, because here's where the action is being taken. The recommendation from action is being taken. So if we can fit it there, perhaps that would work. Because of the perception of controversy by some delegation. Because of the perception of controversy by some delegation regarding the interpretation of the rules of procedure as it relates to quorum, and then clean it up right there.
Thank you. I have Antigua. Argentina, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, at least the position of my delegation cannot be qualified as a perception, not at all. So we could go along with the original drafting of this paragraph, or I mean, if some delegation's perception is at stake here, I mean, we can go along. But it's not an understanding of controversy. We have to come to terms with reality. The non-decision of this body on the amendment of the schedule is a disputed decision, and it has to be reflected. So let's go back to the paragraph that's at stake here and relates to the non-decision on the schedule. And Mr. Chair, I would try, I mean, your performance was really excellent. So to put a name on your decision is something I've been avoiding from the very beginning. So either in this paragraph or in the other one, by the end of the day, my delegation and other disputed your ruling, but your ruling was accepted in general. So I think that it would be fair to say that it's not just your interpretation, it was the room's interpretation. So I wouldn't single out you as the author of the interpretation, because I don't think that's fair, either here or in the other. And I repeat, we're not satisfied with this amendment in this paragraph as an alternative to the amendment we are proposing to the other one.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Ghana.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the opportunity. If you look at the style of the presentations of the report so far, there's nowhere where the details of the discussion was put like this. In fact, from the start, various resolutions and decisions were challenged, and there were some forward and backwards, but eventually we got a consensus on some of them. So I think that this report should remain as it is without all these lines being added, just to capture the main outcomes instead of recounting the forward and backwards that happened in a row. Thank you.
Thank you, Ghana. Mexico.
Gracias, señor presidente. Yo iba a hacer una intervención, pero creo que Argentina explicó mejor lo que yo iba a decir. Gracias. Y apoyo entonces ese texto.
Thank you. Costa Rica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We would like to see the name of Costa Rica after some delegations such as Costa Rica. We do not understand why it is not allowed for us to put the name of the countries that think that was controversial, this decision. So I would like to add the name of Costa Rica after some delegations such as Costa Rica. Thank you.
I will explain once more, and then colleagues, we need to decide when you want to finish this meeting. We are having chair's report that will report on what was going on during the meeting, and it will duly note everything what was going on during the meeting. This is not a chair's report. This is summary of main outcomes. And as it has been explained for several times in the room, relates to main outcomes. This document occurred in this commission because of the practical reasons that sometimes one cannot wait for 2 months that the chair's report is ready to see what was agreed, because some activities have to take place earlier, and that is the sole purpose of this document. This document is not here to state what has been discussed and what has happened in the document. I wanted to accommodate the needs of certain countries, because I understand that you have a strong need to have something really short in order to make a connection between the outcome from agenda item 7 on sanctuaries and the outcome under the operational effectiveness working group. That's the only reason why I entered into this. But please do not look at this document as at the record of the meeting, because this is not the record of the meeting. Morocco, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not challenging the language used here either under item 6. It's fine for me, but I reiterate the need to remove any addition to item 7, I think, under amendment, schedule amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Morocco. Brazil, please take the floor.
No, we just want to support Argentina's point of view. We know what they want to express there. It has to be clear that there was, from the part of some delegations, of many delegations, in fact, not some, many delegations, there was a questioning of the interpretation of the rules of procedure. I don't know how the text is going to be drafted, but I just want to support the view that it has to be clear in the documents. Thank you.
Thank you. I have India.
Thank you, Chair. I think some midway should be suggested so both the countries can accept this proposal. Like, develop a proposal that addresses quorum due to lack of clarity according to some delegations on rule of procedures and so on and so forth.
Thank you. India, I have Austria. Please take the floor.
Yes, if the Indian suggestion is not taken, I have a more neutral and simple wording, and that would be to delete everything in red that we see here. And in the text on the bottom, the second text, which we were working on, just to include the wording. If you could scroll down to that second part, and it would go, no, that's further down. You just passed it. Was not adopted as there was no quorum in the room, and this difficult issue will be tackled or taken in consideration at IWC69.
Thank you, Austria. I have Costa Rica, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry for this, but this specific topic of our agenda in this meeting, for our point of view, this is one of the most important issues raised this week, to be summarized in just one sentence. So we want to see this develop as we need it to show in our capitals. So if you prefer, if the countries or the parties wants to leave this issue linked to this sentence. It is okay for Costa Rica, but I would like to share with you that according to my country, this is one of the most important issues raised, and we want to say it summarized correctly there. Thank you.
Thank you, Costa Rica. And I understand that this issue is important and was important. And that is not to be neglected. Again, I repeat, this is not the report which explains what has happened in the meeting. These are main outcomes, and also the length of the text might not have anything to do with the length of the negotiations here. And that's not just for the schedule amendment, that's for any other item here. We didn't discuss a lot on the scientific committee, and you see in the document that, for example, that there is a lot on the scientific committee because there are a lot of recommendations and outcomes that need to be implemented. So I ask for your understanding that we take this document as it is, and we are at the IWC, and there was a reasoning why this document had to be like this and why we have chair's report then. I pass the floor to Peru, followed by Argentina and Switzerland.
Peru agrees with the chair on the need for this document to reflect the main outcomes of these sessions. Therefore, as Argentina has already stressed, one of the main outcomes was a critical difference of views on the interpretation of the rules of procedure on quorum. In consequence, as a matter of principle, Peru supports the notion already clearly expressed by Argentina and shared by some other delegations that this difference of views and the urgent need to review the rules of procedure should both be reflected as a key outcome of our sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Argentina, just a second, please. Argentina, please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since this is a document, I'm also concerned about time, but that concern about time was not an even concern throughout the meeting since the beginning. So this is a document that needs to be endorsed by all of us. I think we shouldn't reinterpret what happened. I mean, it's very easy. There was no quorum in the room, and the rules of procedure on quorum were challenged by several delegations. That's it. That's exactly what happened. So I do thank all delegations trying to accommodate wording in order to make this less reflective of dispute, but it was quite a dispute here. So please, let's try to understand each other. I mean, Mr. Chair, you know, we've done an effort to help with the procedures and to go smoothly with all the problems we were facing. In this, I'm afraid I cannot back up. We need to reflect that there was a challenge, because in my report, I will say there was a challenge, and my report to my capital if the other report doesn't say it or expresses or interprets the situation in a different way, For me, if you stop at delegations, I'm fine. And rules of procedure on quorum were challenged by several delegations. And that's it. I mean, we don't want to make noise with this. We just want to reflect what really happened. I promise. Thank you.
Okay, I have Switzerland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we are going in a good direction. Switzerland supports the proposal made by Austria. In fact, we had 5 days of hard work. That's a fact. We had some very difficult hours yesterday. That's a fact. And of course, we understand that there is a lot of frustration around the way the issue was handled. So for us, it's understandable that some wish to have some more information put in this document. But when we look back at other meetings, we have chair's report, as you mentioned already several times, where all what happened was included, noting countries, repeating statements, etc., so that there is a really given whole report reflecting what was said, when what is said, etc. But again, I agree what you're saying. This is just a summary of the outcomes. Now, having spent 5 days in this room and having some hard hours yesterday, these are facts, and that there was not a consensus or some disagreements about consensus. That's a fact as well, but not an outcome. We are not noting here that the meeting was 5 days long and that we spent many difficult hours yesterday. So that's a difference, which is in some cases sad, but that's what we did the last few years, just to reflect here the outcomes. Maybe it's just my understanding or the problem of being not a non-English speaker, but we should keep as close as possible to the summary as it was thought in the past. And I think what we are discussing now could be a way out, especially when we go back to the proposal made by Austria. Thank you.
Thank you, Switzerland. I'll pass the floor to Mexico and then to US and then to Argentina.
Thank you, Chair. Let me try to put something factual. And let me suggest that we can say, and following what Argentina also mentioned, as the chair ruled, there was no quorum in the room. Some delegation disagreed with the chair's ruling. And I think that's factual.
Thank you, Mexico. USA, please.
Thank you, Chair. And well, I appreciate the discussion that's happened around this, and I appreciate the interventions by many delegations who want to see some aspect of this recorded. I also agree with many delegations that have said this document should focus on the outcomes, decisions, and required actions as is titled, and fully understand and agree with your points, Chair, regarding the reflection that will come in the Chair's report. But that being said, I can fully support the language on the screen suggested by Argentina. I think that is factual, and I would rather join with, I believe, his earlier remarks, not necessarily calling out your decision, Chair, but just stating as a fact the rule of procedure. I might probably put the word "the" before rule of procedure there, because we only have one. And the rule of procedure on quorum was challenged by several delegations. I think the language on the screen there then would be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Argentina, followed by Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you very much, Chair. I agree with the US. I mean, it's not that wording makes us happy, but it's exactly what I think it happened, and it's expressed in a way that is, I mean, fair with all those intervening in the discussions. So I kindly request the room to go along with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That would be, if we accept that suggestion and go along with it, it would be a total departure from what we are saying should be reflected in this report, because the rules of procedure and quorum was challenged by several delegations. That's not an outcome. That's a statement of an opinion. And as you said, Mr. Chair, several different outcomes here had several different opinions. So you'd have to put several different opinions on some of the outcomes that are there. I believe that we came up with some remedies to that challenge, and it was reflected with what we charged the working group on operational effectiveness to do, which is an outcome up there. But to add this there, you know, perhaps other delegations might want to add their views on other aspects of several outcomes in this document. So that is very inconsistent with the general trend of the document. And I would like to go back and support what the distinguished representative of India suggested, but I could live with what Austria also suggested in the document. But certainly Antigua and Barbuda cannot accept what we're trying to append to item 7 as it is there right now.
Thank you. Australia.
Thank you, Chair. I must say I'm a bit reluctant to enter into this discussion, but I think we can hopefully reach an end. I think the point, as you've put it, Chair, and has been mentioned by many delegations, is that this is a summary of the decisions made. With the original words saying that there was no quorum in the room, if the sentence finished there, it is fair to say that that's not a complete summary, because that quorum was disputed, and that's a central part of why no further, why the debate on the sanctuary did not occur. So I think it is fair, and it's a plea to all delegations to consider this. It's fair to refer to the fact the words as they stand now are an accurate reflection of why that outcome was reached. It's not a blow for blow description of the views of different delegations, but standing just saying there was no quorum means that the fact that that quorum was disputed is ignored, and it actually needs that very brief summary. And I think it should be very brief. I don't think there should be a dialogue here. So it's Australia's plea that those words are very brief as you can have on what was a complicated and difficult issue. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brazil wants to express its support to the addition in schedule amendments, item 4 of that phrase over there. We agree with Argentina, we agree with Australia. And if you need, Mr. Chairman, you can also put that to a vote right now. Put that to a vote and let's see, right? Because if there is dispute on that phrase, we can decide it by vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the proposal, but I would first like to finish all the documents on all the outcomes, because we are now dealing with one of those outcomes. And we need to deal with all of them, especially with them that, with those that will be important for the work in the next 2 or 3 months before the chair's report is out. we have, I hear several proposals. And one is that we were drafting before, the part that explains why the intersessional task has been established and why this has to be discussed as a first item of business. It has this explanation, and that is one possibility. The other one is this explanation under item 7, where we heard the proposal from Argentina, supported by a large number of Buenos Aires group, or probably by all Buenos Aires group countries, but not being acceptable to a certain number of other delegations. And then we have heard proposals from India and Austria. We could also put them on screen, but if for Buenos Aires group currently none of them are acceptable, then I'm not sure I would seek for a solution in that way. I pass the floor to Chile and then to Argentina.
Buenas tardes, Chair. Nuestra postura, sin duda, es apoyar la posición de Argentina con respecto al texto. Se entiende que esta instancia es para dejar un registro de los productos que sacó esta comisión durante esta semana. Sin embargo, la excepcionalidad de lo que sucedió el día de ayer, por la falta de quórum, no poder participar del voto, o por lo menos buscar un consenso para el proyecto de Santuario del Atlántico Sur, merece al menos que refleje lo más cercano a la verdad y a la realidad de lo que ocurrió el día de ayer, en donde la interpretación de lo que es la participación y la falta de quórum fue adoptada por una parte y no por toda la comisión, entendiendo además que había un grupo importante de países que no estaba en sala tampoco. Por lo tanto, fue una parte de los estados que probablemente dieron esa interpretación, y así se jugó, y finalmente quedó en que no hubo quórum para poder al menos analizar el proyecto. Y lo segundo, dado que está en carpeta poder analizar este tema como primera tarea en la próxima reunión, es importante que quede escrito, tanto en esta instancia como en la siguiente, en el informe posterior, que es mucho más detallado, que esto nos va a permitir reconstruir la historia de lo que sucedió y probablemente nos va a permitir tener un mejor producto en ese trabajo que tiene que realizarse como primera tarea en la comisión en la reunión de número 69. Por lo tanto, nuestra opinión es que quede claro en este documento y en el siguiente y en los futuros la real situación de lo que ocurrió el día de ayer, cosa de que sirva como insumo importante para el trabajo que debe realizarse a futuro. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Chile. And because there was a task given to the working group, and because it was agreed that this will be discussed as a first item of business at IWC69, this is a part of the main outcome here, because this is an outcome that has to be processed and then implemented also at the IWC69. That's on, you see it on the screen in the upper part. We are talking about a reasoning that is added here, and again, usually this reasoning either is not mentioned or is very short. So here we have added it currently as we are working on these outcomes in two parts. One is under the wording of the working group that needs to deal with this, and then the explanation that this needs to be the first item of business at the next IWC. And there is another one at the agenda item 7. So one thing that we could try to look for is where it would be more acceptable for countries to have this. I understand that for Buenos Aires group, probably it would be acceptable to have it either in both places or under agenda item 7. But I ask your views, Argentina, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I would like to stress that support for this wording in item 7 has gathered support beyond the Buenos Aires group. I mean, we would very much welcome the US, Australia, and others to join the Buenos Aires group. We would be very happy to have them in, but so far they are not there. The other point, I mean, and please try to understand our point and try to put each of you in the place of the sponsors of the schedule. Go home saying that a proposal to create a South Atlantic whale sanctuary was not adopted because there was no quorum in the room. Is that a reflection of the lack of delegations interested in the issue? No, on the contrary. I mean, some delegations left the room to leave it without quorum in order to avoid the majority from taking a decision. That's factually what happened. So, at least a reference that the ruling on quorum was contested. Please, I mean, we've been waiting here for 1 hour for delegations to come back, and then again in the afternoon. And now we are concerned about 10 minutes for discussing this? No. I mean, I'm ready to continue. We might have a long evening, an early morning discussion as well. No, I cannot go back and with a report saying that there was just no quorum for the South Atlantic Sanctuary. No, it's not the case. I mean, today we voted budget because of one delegation. Get ready to vote the report because of one delegation. So either we reflect the text as it stands now in 7, we can do away with all the amendments in 6. But either we accept that wording in 7 and we don't lose more time, we go for a vote on this, and then we proceed. But the elements that are reflected in that very brief addition to your original language are at least the essentials I need, or we sponsors need to reflect what happened. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Argentina, for your views. I will do the following. I have 3 countries on my list. That is Antigua and Barbuda, Brazil, and USA. I will hear to those interventions. It's 3:30. So after these 3 interventions, I will adjourn the adoption of summary of main outcomes. And I will ask delegations that I will name them, that we meet in chair's room. And during the coffee break, find the way forward on that part of the summary. So I pass the floor to Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A statement of fact is that no one out of Antigua and Barbuda delegation or the other delegation walk out of this room. We just did not attend that session. So that's a statement of fact. Secondly, Mr. Chair, I cannot see how we can accept that that addendum to that paragraph that is saying that there was no quorum in the room and the rules of procedure on quorum was challenged by several delegations. We need balance. If that is going to say be like that, we're going to say also the ruling was that the rule of procedure is correct and there was no quorum in the room. Because by the chair's ruling on the rule of procedure was accepted by several delegations also, and no quorum was in the room. It has to reflect exactly what happens. I am prepared to go along with that addendum there, but it has to be qualified. You have to say, and also several delegations agreed with the chair's ruling that there was no quorum in the room, and put balance onto it.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We want to say that we fully support the position of Argentina, and I think we should not back down on that addition on item 7. And if you think that there is no consensus, you have a chance to put it to vote. So we will decide by majority if it has to be included or not. Thank you.
Thank you. United States.
Thank you, Chair. The United States wants to fully support the intervention by Argentina. We fully support the language as it is written here on the screen. And while I appreciate the view of the distinguished commissioner from Antigua and Barbuda as one of the delegations who did not have any controversy regarding the chair's decision, we feel our views are reflected in the text currently on the screen in the first part of that sentence, which says it was not adopted as there was no quorum in the room. So therefore, we believe our views are accurately reflected and we can accept the proposal on the screen as it is, as proposed by the delegation from Argentina. Thank you.
Thank you. I have still the Dominican Republic, and I will not deprive you from taking the floor, but then I would close the list and adjourn the session and announce a coffee break. Please, Dominican Republic.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Entendiendo muy claramente el formato de este documento de resumen, nosotros consideramos que la redacción que está en la pantalla del número 7 refleja claramente los hechos o reporte de hechos ocurridos. Estamos de acuerdo con el planteamiento de Argentina y no vemos otra forma más reducida para poder reflejar lo que ha ocurrido y la situación de gran importancia en relación a las condiciones y resultados. Gracias.
Thank you, Dominican Republic. With this, I adjourn this session. This agenda item, I adjourn this session. We will reconvene at 4 o'clock. Enjoy the coffee break, and I would kindly invite the delegations that were most engaged in this debate, namely Brazil, Argentina, United States, and Antigua and Barbuda, to join me in chair's room, which is, if you exit now on that side, you will see a smaller room there. Thank you. for a short delay. We're having some technical issues. I would like to thank the delegations that engaged during the coffee break in searching for a solution that would be acceptable to everyone on the text regarding the main outcomes under schedule amendments. And you see it on the screen. And as there were major divergent views represented at this meeting, I will simply check if this text that you see on the screen is acceptable by everyone. I see no request for the floor, so I take it is acceptable and we agree on that part. Item 7. Now let us move to item 8, text on resolutions. Any concerns with this text? I see no request for the floor, so I take there are no concerns, and I ask if we can agree on this part. I also see no request for the floor, so I take it is agreed. And now we come to the text of Aboriginal subsistence whaling. You see the text on the screen. Any concerns? I see no request for the floor, so I take we can agree on this text. Agenda item whale killing methods and welfare issues. You see the text on the screen. Any concerns with this text? I don't see any request for the floor, so I will take we can agree on this text. Next part is management issues and infraction reports. You see the text on the screen. Any concerns with this text? I see no request for the floor. So I take we can agree on this text. Then we have conservation committee. This text is a bit longer, so I would go by let's say what you see on the screen. So the first introductory part and bycatch. Any concerns regarding this text? I see no request for the floor, so I take we can agree with this. Please move down. Bycatch we did already. So whale watching, conservation management plans, ship strikes. Any concerns with this text? I see no request for the floor, so I take we can agree with this text. Marine debris, anthropogenic underwater noise, climate change, ecosystem functioning, species populations of urgent or emerging concerns. Any concerns with this text? USA, please take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I believe there should be a comma after commission approval and then maybe the word including. We endorse the initiative with the process amended to seek commission approval. And that might include the potential for intercessional procedure. So I would see a comma after approval and then the word including. Thank you.
Ryan, sorry, I think we didn't follow which part you were at. Please, floor to USA.
Yes, the second line, right, you were right there, your cursor was correct. After it says seek commission approval under species population of urgent or emerging
Okay,
concern.
species populations, that was missing information.
Yeah, sorry. And there should be a comma including. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no other request for the floor, so I take with this addition, we can agree with this text. Then we just have funding from the Conservation Committee. Any concerns with this text? I see no request for the floor, so I take we can agree with the whole chapter on Conservation Committee. Thank you. Now it's Scientific Committee. I will also here it's structured differently. So the parts that you see on the screen. I see no request for the floor, so I understand we can agree with this text. The text you see now on the screen, any concerns with this? I see no request for the floor, so I think we can agree with this text. And then the last part of the Scientific Committee summary of the outcomes. Any concerns with this text? No, so I think we can agree with this text. Now we have election of officers. Any concern with this text? Apologies for mistyping the name of our new chair. I take we can agree with this part of the summary. Future IWC meetings. Any concern with this text? I see no request for the floor, so I take we can agree with this text. And then it's any other matters. We'll just correct this one. We have slightly changed the text so that first it more accurately reflects this part. We could also have no outcomes here, but we shorten the other part. I have Ghana on my floor, and apologies if I didn't see you and you asked already for previous agenda items. So previous part. So Ghana, please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think, can we go to 345, item 345? I kept seeing committee instead of commission. And yeah, for most of the decisions. If we could
Thank
go
you.
up. Yeah.
Thank you very much for spotting this.
Yeah.
Thank you. We will check if we, at any place, it should be commission, because where commission notes, we will correct this. But where it is just the information provided, then it's committee. So I take we can agree on summary of main outcomes, decisions, and required actions arising from this meeting. Are there any objections? Sorry, thank you. We still have to go to one. Yes, we just need a short break just to change the screen here. So I ask for 1 minute. what you have seen during our first day on the screen in that presentation. So it explains what we have changed, which regulation, not rule. Okay, so with this first sentence is added, but the rest is okay. Here it's also financial interventions. I'll explain. The first sentence says to which parts of our financial regulations that are part of the rules of procedure, and to which rule of procedure within that document those changes apply. And then the changes are the text as it has been presented and agreed. Anyway, that's the main outcome that has been already, let's say, consumed, or we have implemented already that part. And that is the second one on the rule of procedure. And here it says that the ruling was what constitutes exceptional circumstances, and therefore those countries had their voting rights restored for the duration of plenary. And that is the part under point 1 of this summary of the main outcomes, in this summary of the main outcomes. So are there any concerns about this? I see none. So I take this is agreed, and I will ask if there are any objections to adoption of the summary of main outcomes, decisions, and required actions arising from the 68 meeting. I see none, so I take the main outcomes adopted. With this, I close also the agenda item 19 of our meeting, and we are coming close to the closure of the meeting. We had another important task that you were occupied with during this 4.5 days or 4 days. And I will now pass the floor to, I presume, to Commissioner from Luxembourg to inform us about the results, what he got. Please, floor to Luxembourg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll proceed now to the agenda item IWC fun. Not that the previous ones were not fun, but we were actually very surprised. We got a lot of participation. We got about 25 entries, very original, artistic, and interesting entries. It's probably even more than 25 because I think some of the entries are actually combined works of art of this bonding initiative. I think some countries actually created their drawings together, which is absolutely awesome. So about 25 entries, and I wanted to thank all the participants because this is your contest, and the result depends on your contributions. And it's, of course, a fantastic example of bridging the gap of our political views here. So the way we are going to proceed is that we are going to show the different entries on the screen, a first round, and you can just have a look at it. And afterwards, we will proceed to a second round. And I would ask our friends from the technical side to please start the PowerPoint on the contest. So the rules afterwards are going to be that every member state party to the IWC and also every organization, be it NGO or IGO, has a right to vote, but everyone has only one single vote. So you have to be sure which drawing you are going to vote for. So you're not allowed to vote for more than one drawing, and we will proceed to the voting afterwards. So once we can display the entries, I will go through them and I will comment a little bit. I would like to emphasize that I have nothing to do with the drawings, so I don't take any responsibility.
In the meantime, I'll just remind the NGOs to have their nameplates, because that will be that's the way how they will vote. So if you didn't collect your nameplate, please collect it.
Also, when we will proceed to the votes. Sorry about that. There seems to be a little technical issue with the PowerPoint. So once we go to the voting part, I would kindly ask you not only to consider the aesthetics of the drawings, but the general concept and the creativity and the message that it may convey. So we'll just wait for the presentation. Please bear with me. I don't want to keep you longer than needed. I guess you all want to get out of here as quickly as possible.
I see Australia in the meantime.
Chair, just while we wait for the PowerPoint presentation to come up, if I could make a plea to the chair of the agenda item fun on our agenda to please try and agree on the winner by consensus and not put this to a divisive vote. Thank you, Chair.
Luxembourg, will you be able to listen to this advice or request?
I think it should be pretty straightforward. Okay, this is not the PowerPoint. This is not the PowerPoint. So here we go. This should work now. I have a clicker. Let's see if this works now. So it's nice to see our new chair and the vice chair. It's a very nice drawing. I don't know who did this one, but it's a nice way to start and introduce the contest. So let's go for the first one. So this one very clearly pays tribute to the problematic of plastic debris. This dolphin doesn't look very happy. Then you can see the entire process of plastic debris being collected, stored, and then recycled and reused, which is also a tribute probably to the resolution on marine plastic that we managed to accept on this plenary. The second one is quite abstract, and it states our whales are all black. I did not know that whales were into rugby, but there you go. This one is a humpback whale, which seems to be doing all the work for us. It's collecting all the rubbish in the oceans, and it says you're welcome. Another humpback whale with a rather enthusiastic expression. I guess it must have been following this meeting very closely. I think this is a right whale, at least the front part. I'm a veterinarian. Last time I checked inside a whale, it didn't look the way it looks in the back, but it says the IWC and its dichotomy. This one looks like a reference to South Park, and it's a very distinguished delegate. I haven't seen him yet. I don't know where he's sitting around, but I like the glasses. This is a whale with a bad hair day, maybe a bad hair week. Maybe he's also been here at the IWC. This one is actually very impressive in real. It's actually a collage, so it's a 3D production, and I invite you to have a look at it afterwards. Another humpback whale. It looks like they're very popular. And this one reminds me of these kind of drawings that look very different if you turn them upside down. So has kind of an abstract bit to it as well. And it looks like it's a humpback whale breaching hopefully not the rules of procedure. This is a nice drawing about endangered small cetaceans. And I think I recognize the vaquita. It says, "We are small, but we are many." I wish it were true. And the message is actually also a little bit scary. It reminds me a little bit of an alien movie. Another humpback, and I think I've been trying to hide as well as possible which country could have drawn every drawing, but this one is pretty straightforward to figure out, I think. This one is a cartoon. It says, "So happy for the invite to join your team building. Can't wait to indulge in some fun activities with you." And it seems like I can recognize some members of the IWC Scientific Committee on that boat. And then, yes, be careful what you wish for. And this one is a very nice depiction of showing where compromise can be found. If only we had known that it was in the middle of the whale. This one says it all. So whales do binge watch as well, and it has a nice ball of krill with it. Plastic again is an interesting comparison between the larger whale, which is crying, and then the small whale, which is very enthusiastic and happy and saying, "Fortunately, there is the IWC." So it's a message of hope and of responsibility for our organization. This is, I think, a rorqual whale. I'm not sure whether the blue dots were intentional, but they could indicate the important role of whale poop in the ecosystem. This is clearly a message that says that sometimes you have to think inside the box. This one says it all. Message in a bottle. The colors don't come over very good in this one, but it says follow the lead of the whales. And maybe it means that you also should try to see the world a little bit more in pink. This is another interesting depiction of an ecosystem-based approach with friendly fish offering themselves to this cute whale. This one has a very interesting style, slightly psychedelic cetaceans going for a vote. And this one could be the logo for the next IWC69. This is a colorful native representation of a killer whale. And I think in the middle of this killer whale, in the middle round white spot, I can recognize a little heart. This says it all as well. This poor whale has to carry the world. And this is our last entry, I believe. This is an unidentifiable whale species. And the rest of the message is quite unidentifiable as well. I was not aware that we had a medical doctor amongst us. Maybe it's a prescription. So these are the 25 entries. And before we go back to the beginning and start with the voting, I would like to go back to Rebecca and ask her if you have quorum.
Just barely.
So then I would also ask Rebecca to please proceed with the voting. You can vote by raising your hand. And please don't forget, we will try to go through this relatively swiftly.
Vote one time. Okay, are we ready to vote? Have you carefully considered all your options? Because there are 25. And if you vote twice, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Okay, so have you memorized all of them? Have everybody picked their favorite? Are you ready with your favorite? Okay, because you can't change your mind. All right, so I want to show of hands for the river dolphin. Oh, come on. Little love for our, thank you, Norway. Didn't know you had them. Okay, I think we got one vote for river dolphin. Number 2 is our whales are all black. Norway, do I have to ask you to leave? He wants to leave. No, you can't. All right, we'll stand by on that one. How about your whale come? Oh, look at that. Oh, thank you. We got Mexico and we have Korea. Oh, we got in the back 3, 4. I think I got 4 votes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, in the bleachers. No, okay, 5 votes. Great. The next one is our enthusiastic humpback whale, number 4. Oh. One up, one more back. Yeah. Enthusiastic humpback whale on the afternoon of day 5 of Plenary. Thank you. 1. Not because you're feeling that way, right? Okay, we got 1 enthusiastic vote for that. Okay, the next one is the IWC and its dichotomy. Yeah. Oop. You got to be quick in this contest. There it is. Show of hands. Not that you believe in this, but okay, Devin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's estimated by a scientist using market capture. Okay, the next one is a whale sitting at a desk. What do we hear for this bureaucratic whale? Yes, Marka, thank you. Not that your job is like that, right? Okay. 2, thank you. All right. Okay, next we have the whale who's having a bad hair day. I can identify with that. Nobody here has a bad hair day? Oh, I don't believe it. Your hair looks great. Okay. Oh, 2. Great. Too much dancing last night, huh? Okay. Next we have the 3-dimensional, if I might add, collage whale. It's a beauty. Okay, help me out here. Oh. Oh, tu peux pas voter 2 fois là, Nabou. Une main à la fois. Huh? No. Oh, well, the secretary gets 1 vote. Okay. We got it. Well, David had his hand up. So where are we on that, gentlemen? 11. Lucky number. Next, we have the breaching humpback whale, breaching the rules of procedure. How could that be? Never happens, right? Sweden, go for it. All right. Thank you. Okay, let's feel the love for small cetaceans. Small cetacean. There you go. Yeah, loving it. In the back, in the bleachers.
On the other side.
On the, one hand, one hand.
Scientific
Scientific committee. Okay, so what's our total? 5, okay. Oh, did we get the one way in the back? Okay, it's nice to see the people up in those soft seats are not sleeping. That's what I'd be doing. Okay, then we have Santa with a knit cap. Oh, looking cozy, ready for winter. Okay, this is what they wear in Peru. That is approving. Way over there, Italy. Those caps are just the thing on a bad hair day. Bless you. Is that two then?
Yeah.
Okay, next we have the touchy-feely trust fall. Very dangerous if you don't know who you're dealing with. Next slide. Yay. Do you recognize any of the scientists on this, on the boat? Oh, this is a popular one. 9. Going for that destructive exercise. All right. Conservation, compromise, sustainable use. Story of our lives. Okay, you've had enough of that in your daily job. No votes. All right, what we all want to do when we get home, watch Netflix and relax with a bowl of krill. Next one. Who's ready for some Netflix and krill? All right. We got one vote there. Oh, there's one in the back. Way up in the bleachers, just woke up. That two? Okay. All right, then we have the plastic waste, very popular theme here. We got a vote. Oh, come on, we got consensus on plastics earlier this week. All right, Ben's in there. Okay, we got it. Okay, number 16, the roker whale. Simple basics. It's good stuff. All right. All right, then whale welfare, number 17. We don't like to see those whales in a box, do we? Looks like no votes, huh? Okay. Let's see, whale in the bottle. I got that one, right? Follow the lead of the whale. Three votes. Okay. And the smiling whale. Number 20. Next one. Isn't this follow the lead? Let's follow the lead of the whale. Did we get votes on that? Okay, I must have this one wrong. That's okay. We'll get this right later, Chair, I promise. Okay, smiling whale is next. Smiling with his teeth there. Looking forward to a nice snack. Okay, too graphic, huh? All right, the next one is what I call a cubist whale, very Picasso. Voting, they're voting. Been avoiding voting. Okay, 0. All right, next one is very sweet, the IWC68 logo. Those dolphins got the whole world in their paws. 1, 2. You got this one over here. 3 votes, great. Next one is, can't read what I wrote. Oh, yes, the native whale. It's just beautiful art. Okay. All right. Next, we have Pacific bonding. Oh, Outback is popular. I see the 2 Pacific bonding. Oh, we got a little Pacific over here. 3 votes. Okay. All right, then we have finally the unidentifiable whale that breaks all the rules. Looks like he's got, I like to break the rules, huh? Okay, great. Do I have any abstentions? If you abstain, you have to come up and do right in front of all of us your own drawing. Okay, so let's see.
Excuse me, it seems like one participant got forgotten. Basically, I forgot to put it into the PowerPoint. So we will show this last drawing that I forgot to put into the PowerPoint. That was actually the first submission. And you can vote on this one as well. Also, if you have already voted on different ones. So take a minute and please vote now.
Can I challenge that procedure?
Not sure we had the 60 days on any of these. Okay, well, everybody has used up their vote, but if you had to vote again, would you vote for this one? How many people would change your mind? Too late. Let's just say this one is a beauty. Okay, so we'll give it three votes for the latecomer. Or I guess it was an early one, we just didn't get it in. All right. So given that, the top votes are, first of all, 11 votes for the collage whale, which I give the second highest. We have 9 votes for the trust fall. After that, it drops to 5, 5 and 5. Yeah, we got some 5s here for the IWC and its dichotomy. And then small cetaceans. So should we re-vote on those 4, Pierre? Is that the?
Mike to Luxembourg, please.
So Rebecca, did you say that we have the similar amount of the same amount of votes for several drawings?
We have the top one with 11. We have the second one with 9. And then we have 2 with 5. Should we rerun the 9 and the 11? Or that? No, it's 32.
I think in this case, I will ask for consensus. But actually, no, it's just one magnificent prize for the winner. So I guess the winner is the collage. And the magnificent prize is you have won the privilege of chairing the International Working Group, which will try to resolve the quorum issue for IWC69. And in addition, I would kindly ask the distinguished delegate from Panama to please give the magnificent prize to the winners. And this is a collaborative work between the Secretariat and COMAFAT. So congratulations to you. So congratulations. And to finish, I would like to ask friends from the technical side to put in the last slide. That's a slide with the pictures of the groups that have submitted their selfies. And also, I would like to thank you all for participating, and also to thank our chairman, Andre, for allowing us to have this little contest, and for his leadership in this very interesting meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And my congratulations to the winners. You will for sure share your award among yourselves. I mean. and with the team of the Secretariat. With this, I will declare this meeting closed, but please don't leave the room yet.